What's up, you savages? This is Byron Sadik here on Reviews and Shit. We're going to be talking about the series finale of... Okay, it's a little show you may have heard of, I don't know, Game of Thrones. That's right, Season 8, Episode 6. Now, this is going to be full of spoilers, obviously, so if you don't want to find out, don't watch. To recap, Daenerys Targaryen of the Unsullied, the Dothraki, and the Northern Lords have taken over King's Landing, and they've officially won, and they've deposed basically everyone. They've Cersei had surrendered, then she died anyway. We had Clegane Bull get fucking hype, 100% confirmed, and now our new Queen of the Andals and the First Men in the Rhoynar, Daenerys Stormborn Targaryen, Breaker of Chains, Mother of Dragons, yakety yak yak yak, has taken over the city. She could have murdered some people, you know, with dragon fire, burn the city down, made Daddy proud. Anyway, so that's sort of the setting of the show, of the episode. Now, our first scene is basically 4 minutes of Tyrion walking around and seeing how shit has been thoroughly wrecked in King's Landing. His home for many years. And he's not too happy about it. And we also get a little bit of Jon Snow observing Grey Worm and the other Unsullied murdering other citizens of King's Landing, which he's not a big fan of. They sort of have a little bit of a standstill, and then we get a bunch of murdered Lannisters. Which nobody really cares about, because I just assumed they've all been dead for so long, but you know, people keep respawning. The Dothraki died, they somehow came back. Jon Snow died, he came back. Death doesn't really have consequences in this universe. Another awesome speech from Daenerys. You know how great and awesome she is. Then Tyrion, in the middle of that speech, decides to resign as Hand of the Queen, and Dany has him arrested. In the meantime, Jon Snow goes to visit him, and Tyrion's all like, dude, you gotta kill her, bro. And Jon's like, nah, man, she got the, you know, I can't, I don't know. Dany goes to the throne room and sees the Iron Throne for the first time. She touches it, Jon Snow comes in. Jon's like, hey, what the fuck, bro? They're killing people down there, like, you can't do this shit. And Dany's like, nah, chill, baby, I got this. You know, oh man, no, wait, no, won't you come here and get some of that sugar, baby? And then Jon's like, all right, baby, let's get something. And she dies. And then Drogon flies in. He's like, what the fuck? Like, hey, bro, like, that's my mom's. Like, that's my, you know. And we have a little bit of a, oh shit, he's gonna finally kill Jon? Nope. Burn the Iron Throne. And the Iron Throne is officially gone. It takes Dany, flies away to allegedly the east. They have a trial in the Dragon Pit where the remaining Westerosi lords are gathered to try Tyrion. In that group is, of course, Sansa, Arya, and the other, I think one other Northernman. Some of them are pissed, though. Yara says,
I swore to follow Daenerys Targaryen.
And then Sansa replies,
she was a hoe.
Their uncle, Edmure Tully, who's still alive, makes a cool speech, but gets kind of shot down by Sansa for, you know, because they kind of know he's just sort of an idiot, even though he's technically not wrong on paper. The Unsullied are very pissed and like, hey, we got to kill him. And they're like, well, you can't kill him because you don't have any authority here. We still have power in our country. This is our country. And they're like, okay, fine, and who does? And then they're like, well, let's see. Now they decide we gotta pick a king, and before they do, well, at one point, Samuel Tarly decides to have everyone vote on who has power, and basically suggest democracy. They all laugh. I think was it Waymar Royce from The Vale kind of says, what are you, dummy? Well, should my horse have a vote? And then he kind of just goes, goes back to being Samwell. And then I guess they decide to pick a king from one of the people there. Anyway, yak. Long story short, Tyrion decides to pick, of all people,
Bran the Broken.
Bran, the three-eyed raven, roly eyes in the backs of his headsies. They pick him to be king. The same guy that says that he's not even Bran, that he's a three-eyed raven and sort of detached himself from humanity. But whatever, Bran's king, they all agree to it, except for Sansa, sort of, who says that she wants the North to be an independent kingdom.
As it was for thousands of years.
Bran agrees, so the 6 kingdoms of Westeros. So Bran's king, he wins, yay! And then the rest of the episode is just more or less loose ends being tied up. The major one being what happens to Jon, because the big stipulation for the Unsullied to forgive his murder is that he has to be banished to the Wall, to the Night's Watch, which doesn't really exist because there are no wildlings in the North and there are no more White Walkers. So what are they protecting the North from? Themselves, which I guess is a poignant thing to say, that man is his own worst enemy. Okay, not so bad, D&D. That's sort of poignant, even though I came up with it. So he goes to the north and he reunites with Tormund and the other wildlings at Castle Black. And then, of course, Tyrion becomes Hand of the King at Bran's request. Sansa becomes and Arya decides not to go back north, and she's gonna go west and just explore what is west of Westeros, the Iron Islands. And they all go their separate ways. The end. Now, all the spoilers out of the way, my first question is, what the Bran? Really, guys? Like, that was... Okay. Now, I'm not a super huge, Game of Thrones nerd. Yes, I am. But I'm not one of these people that expects the show to stick religiously to the books. I understand there are a lot of adaptations and changes that need to take place when you're adapting a novel to the screen, i.e. film or television. Compromise has to be made. It's not the same thing. You can't tell the same story the exact same way. There has to be, it is what it is. I can accept that. But what I can't accept is just the logical inconsistency of its own universe. It's not even it's not just that it's bad, it's just that it's shitting on its own premise. Namely, that one of the big premises in the story, in my opinion, is that geopolitical battle for the Iron Throne could be a fatal distraction from the real threat to mankind, which were the White Walkers or the others, which conveniently gets wrapped up in one episode, thanks to a very strategic point from old teen assassin over there, Arya Stark, who I think a lot of complaints from this episode. It was beautifully shot. I mean, there's a lot of really great scenic moments. The infamous scene where probably the most notable one is when Daenerys is walking from the ruins of the Red Keep, and the camera pans up from the steps to the hallway where Drogon is ascending up, and you see his wings flapping in the air. Also, I like the scene where Tyrion discovers the bodies of his siblings, Cersei and Jaime, and really great acting from Peter Dinklage. Just that guy is this is like that performance of him as Tyrion Lannister. That's gonna go up there in some of the best television acting ever. I mean, that's up there with Bryan Cranston as Walter White. James Gandolfini as Tony Soprano. It was the range and just how much he really embodied that character, and he did a really good job. And I think all the actors did a great job with given what they had, and I kind of do admire them for that. And there was some internal gossip and drama within the show production that a lot of the actors were not happy with the script and the kind of the way the story was going, because they felt that it sort of just wasn't good. You can certainly respect that, and them taking a stand and in spite of that just doing the best job they can given what they have. I really respect them for that, and I think no real complaints on any of the acting itself. But Bran, I mean, not to say that he couldn't be a good king, because he is sort of God or something. I don't know. Like he certainly has the knowledge. He's probably read more books than Robert Baratheon, so there's that. Probably spend less time in brothels as him, for obvious reasons. But my biggest gripe is, why would Bran even want to be king? I mean, what is the point of that? There's nothing in there's nothing in this characterization and nothing in the story, in the books or the television show that indicates that he even wants to be king, or that there's a chance that he might even think he's going to be king. It just literally comes out of nowhere. He's just sort of like, yep, I'm king, because in the scene where he says,
"Why do you think I came all this way?"
implying that he knew he was going to be king, right after that scene he said,
"And I don't want to be king."
Which means that either he's lying to himself or the audience, or there's some unexplained reason that he's becoming king, which we never really get. So it's just kind of like, okay, he's king, all right. I mean, I guess he'd be a good king, I suppose, but there's this whole, does he really care about humanity, or doesn't he? Like, what's the point? Like, what does he want? Why does he as a character want? And that's the thing, the story doesn't really tell us what he's after in being king. Like, what is his motivation to be king? And there's nothing in the story, especially in the later seasons, that sort of indicate that. And this is perhaps a failing of the showrunners, of the producers, because they're the ones that kind of set, more or less, have been sailing the ship since the show surpassed the books. So good on you, D&D. You did a bang-up job. All that said, I mean, there's some cool stuff, but it just kind of illustrates a few important things. If you ever get the chance to lead a multi-million-dollar adaptation of a famous, fiction series, maybe care about the story. And I know some people might be saying, "Hey, bro, it was cool. I liked it. It had some killing. It had some." Some of the surface level stuff that makes the show good, but that's the thing, it only had the surface level stuff. It was, and I might just be, just some freaking nerd with a neck beard complaining about this stuff, which, that's not true, because I shaved my neck today, see? That's technically not, beard's all here, there's no beard here. It really kind of undermines the whole show, especially in the end, because you have this, really realistic, multifaceted, morally ambiguous show that kind of ends with sort of a happy ending. The good guys win. I don't know. I think I think overall it was very rushed, and compared to the first three, especially the first three seasons. The fourth season, it started to get a little iffy because they deviated from the books a bit. But it started off so well, and it started off so faithfully close to the books. It started out so very close to the books in the production of the story, and because they had the books to go on, and they also had the involvement of George R.R. Martin himself, who also wrote a couple of episodes, and he himself was a television producer, in the 80s, I believe. So he certainly understood the challenges and the realities of adapting his own work to television, and was up to that. And now that it just really felt like they needed more seasons. Showrunners wanted to move on. HBO wanted a few more seasons. The showrunners said, screw that. They wanted to go ruin Star Wars. So, okay, cool. I mean, you can't really ruin Star Wars because it's already been ruined, in my opinion. But, that was pretty much it. So I think it was a very lukewarm, just kind of out of left field end. And I think the best part about the end is that it's over. That's it, no more. Now we can just kind of wait around for, you know, George R.R. Martin to finish writing the books, if that ever happens, you know, if he doesn't keel over from anything really. I would think, like, for a guy that has his resources and is like, he's so rich, he should pull a Jeff Bezos. Like, Jeff Bezos, he's doing filthy rich right, because if you get filthy rich like that, you gotta become a supervillain, okay? You gotta get on some steroids, you gotta just get all buff and shit. Like, that's what I would do if I was, like, crazy rich. My freaking shoulders would take up this whole frame. Like, look, man, Game of Thrones sucks. It's a bunch of bullshit. Protein shake, Game of Thrones sucks. Protein shake, Star Wars is ruined. Protein shake, Warcraft is hopefully gonna be pretty good. Whatever, but those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you're indifferent, you thought it was a good ending, you thought it was a bad ending, you thought Bran would make a good king, you think that, you know, Colonel Sanders would make a good king. I don't, you know, whatever you want, you know, whatever. Personally, you know, I've already shared my thoughts. Let people know. Leave some hate comments. I don't care. Troll me. That's cool with me. I have no qualms with trolls. Thank you so much, guys. Let me know what you want to review next. I will review anything, you know, except for, I'll review anything. I don't really care. So thank you so much for tuning in. This has been Byron Sadik, the Middle Beast, with reviews and shit on Sir Suri. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Be sure to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Sir Siree, SIRSIREE. Thank you so much. Bye, savages.